Okay, so who do we got here? We have, here's Cruz Soto, and this is Velasquez, and then this Hummel right here, and then the perspective we're looking through is Schultz. And I called this Keith Schultz a dozen or two times about the crimes I was going through. I was living in hell. This is Costilla County. This is Costilla County, right next to the Lobato Bridge. I was going through absolute hell because I had issues with, child abusers, and because I live in America and I was spending so much money on rent, I said, well, hell, I'm just going to buy me a piece of ground and I'm going to build me a house. I thought that was a pretty simple proposition. I thought that was an easy thing that, you could just do. Basically, it's just, if you have the will, you'll be able to do it, right? Get the lumber, build the things, and I even did all the damn permit processes right. When Tecumseh was murdered, I went to him, and he just shrugged it off. He didn't give a fuck. Some guy drove by my fucking house, enticed my dog to go out to the fucking road, and he did it twice. And he was only on the side. He drove by once, drove by twice. The dog comes out. He runs over my fucking dog. He runs over my dog. And he just shrugged his shoulders. That's a real violent fucking felony crime, okay? And then there's another time when there was a drive-by shooting. There was a drive-by shooting that had happened. And he just kind of drove around the neighborhood, spotlighting a couple areas, and then that's all he did. So this guy, Hummel, he's no longer there. He's quit. And this is the undersheriff. And I'm not for sure who's driving. I want to say, well, Howerton. There's a Howerton too. So I don't know if this is Hummel or Howerton. And then we're looking through Keith Schultz's eyes right now. I called 911 so many times, a dozen or two times, but basically because violent crimes were happening. There is at least 7 or 8 drive-by shootings, so that's 7 or 8 attempted murders, and then 39 shots. I counted them all up one time, and so I survived 7 or 8 assassination attempts, 39 shots, and then one guy that's, for this day, September 17th, 2021, he drove by my house, and he threatened me, just like when they killed my fucking dog. And Phil Greeney committed so many fucking crimes. So it's just incredible that the perspective that we're looking through, this is a guy that ignored all the violent crimes. All these fuckers ignored all the violent crimes that was actually happening. And the guy that drove by my house, he jerks his steering wheel like he's going to drive into the sagebrush and he's going to drive over there, in order to run me over or some shit. I fired 3 warning shots straight up into the air. The guy's not injured. He's, saying a bunch of lies, but they have no evidence to back up his lies. So in America, do we not have the Second Amendment? If somebody threatens you, threatens to run you over, threatens to run your dogs over, threatens to destroy your property. He came by once, he came by twice. I fired 3 warning shots straight up into the air, and now this arrest is happening because they were tired of me calling 911. They were sick and tired of me calling 911. They didn't know who I was, so they're not going to give me any, the protect and serve. They're not going to protect and serve a stranger. We don't know who you are. And you called 911 too many goddamn times. You called 911 too many goddamn times, and it's just easier to go and arrest the fucking victim. That's easier to do, isn't it? Yeah, so that's Hummel, that's Cruz Soto, that's Velasquez, and then who's driving is Brandon Howerton. Brandon Howerton is no longer with the Costilla County Sheriff's Office. So it's interesting, this piece of shit right here is gone, and he is a piece of shit. He is a piece of fucking shit. And then you have the driver who seemed like he might have actually heard me out. At no point in time did they care about any of the evidence, any of the videotapes, any of the notes, anything that I had done. So I'm going to review this video. So this is Tim is coming out here. It's interesting to think about the dogs that I have. And I had 5 dogs at the time. Tim, Mufasa, Chumba, Tiger, and Yida. And so this is them coming up onto my property. Have I committed a crime? Have I done a damn thing? I have not. And they have no evidence of any crime happening except for a guy's word. A liar. Joe Canty is a liar. So they took a liar's lie, and now I wasn't able to finish my house. I've had so many crimes that were happening to me. So if you think of equal protection, let's pretend that you actually have equal protection, right? If shooting a couple warning shots straight up into the air, which I was using the Second Amendment and also Article 2, Section 13 of Colorado's Constitution, if that's the worst thing in the world, well, certainly somebody coming over to your house and trying to murder you, I heard the bullets whiz past my head. Certainly those would be crimes as well. But did Schultz ever arrest Pickerell? Robert Pickerell, did he ever arrest Sam Jepsen? Did he ever arrest Hiram Richardson? Did he ever arrest Phil Greeney? No, he didn't arrest any of the people that committed crimes. None of the people that did a drive-by shooting. None of the people that murdered my beloved Tecumseh. And then there's a whole bunch of sort of misdemeanor, kind of tiny crimes. But Phil Greeney driving by my house and, braking, stomping on his brakes and acts like he's going to do something to me. It was living hell on earth. This is where right-wing sovereigns are living. And then there's also some other shit that is probably going on as well. So they're just laughing and giggling and they're just having a good time. And they'll, drive up onto my property. That's all right. But they didn't want to go to Pickerell. So right now, you see him pointing the gun. And he's going to say he's out. So is this felony menacing? Felony menacing is when you take a gun in order to try to frighten somebody. And why? Well, I was talking to this, ginger. And I said, well, there's police officers that's out on the road. Well, she says, why don't you just go out and talk to them? So that's what I did. I went out and I talked to them. No guns, no threatening. And then, I was honest and decent and moral the entire time I lived in Costilla County. Honest, decent, and moral the entire time I lived in Costilla County. I did their stupid fucking planning and zoning permits. I stayed in an RV park for a year to make sure I did the planning and zoning thing right. I paid for their stupid permits. And then now I'm getting just hounded by criminal motherfuckers all the goddamn time. I'm not able to leave my house. I was a prisoner in my own house for a year. Anytime I would go get the mail, I would have to rush right back. There's a truck driving around my damn, property. A whole bunch of shit had happened. And they're going to ignore all the real crimes. They're going to ignore all the real fucking violent crimes and the shit that I was going through. And then I fired warning shots, and at the very least, Joe Canty was a hooligan in a dangerous neighborhood, and at the worst, he dropped a bunch of supplies off at Robert Pickerell's house. Pickerell, who was part of a drive-by shooting with me. He was on the passenger side, flashing a flashlight at me.
He's out.
Okay, he's out. You just heard Schultz say he's out. So I kind of want to count to see how many seconds is this gun on me? Because if felony menacing is to point a gun at somebody in order to frighten them, well, how long, basically I'm just a sneeze. If the guy would have just sneezed, if he would have thought my arm was a gun or something, if he would have thought that, something, it looked like a gun was in my hand or some shit, I'm a goner, right? I'm fucking gone. So there's Tim Tim just kind of hanging out, which is kind of, you know, a little nerve-wracking because he likes to wander off. Okay, so how long was that? About frickin' 30 seconds or so? It's about a minute. Let's take a look. When does he point the gun at me? Okay, so that's at 1:01.
He's out. He's out. He's out.
What's that? I can't hear you.
So what I just explained to him was that I have nothing in my hand. I've got nothing in my hand right now. And he said, good, you know. So they're up on my property. They haven't seen anything. They have no evidence of anything except for a guy's lying. You know, if I had a shotgun and I'm shooting at somebody that's on the road, he said I was in the front yard running at him, you know, shooting at him. Well, a shotgun with birdshot spreads. But there is no evidence of any gunshot on the vehicle. He's driving this big, large industrial truck. So the physics of what he says doesn't make sense. The physics doesn't make sense. The law doesn't make sense. The morality of this thing doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense at all. And the only reason why I believe why they're doing any of this was because I called 911 and I called them too many times and they were sick of it. They were sick and tired of me calling 911. Well, if you're tired of me calling 911, I'm tired of being a goddamn victim for fucking violent felony fucking crimes. You know, at no point in time did they take me serious. If there is somebody if I'm the sheriff and there's somebody that's saying that they're doing drive-by shootings and kill my dog and spotlighting and stalking and doing these little stop and goes and stuff and they're harassing me day in and day out, I would do a sting operation. I would do some sort of, you know, I think if they would have just parked in my front lawn, if they would have just parked in my front lawn one day and just seen what had happened, or maybe parked behind the house, and then when I'm out there working on my fence, see what, you know, what the neighborhood is up to. And it was only a handful of people, but Phil Greeney, Robert Pickerell, I think Robert Pickerell, I don't know if he's a criminal or if he's part of a gang or something. I know that the right-wing sovereigns, this is their area, this is their domain. Right-wing sovereigns think that they're above the law, and they're a bunch of Nazis, frankly, a bunch of racist Nazis. That's all they would have had to have done. That's all they would have had to have done. Come to my house, park behind it just for a day, and see if what I'm saying is true. But instead of doing that, this is what we're going to do. We're going to arrest the victim. You know, if all you do is arrest the victim, well, hell, then the crime rate will be zero. Because anybody that calls 911, you just arrest that person, and then just let the criminals do as the hell as they please. Then there would be no reported incidents that had happened. There'd be no, you know... Okay, so he takes it down about, you know, at 1:48. So for 47 seconds, he had a gun that was pointed right at me. All he would have taken is a sneeze, or if I would have, you know, jerked in a certain way or a certain motion, I'm a goner. I'm a goner, right? Yeah, great fucking people, I swear to God, yeah. Why would we give, you know, a badge and a gun to a bunch of incompetent assholes that are too afraid to go after the dangerous people? Phil Greeney, Why do they all gotta suck Phil Greeney's dick? And you might say, well, that's not fair. Well, Ann Kelly had suggested that I was sleeping with my witness. That's what she suggested. So the fucking officials are allowed to accuse you of a bunch of craziness. They have no evidence whatsoever of it. It's bullshit. It's such bullshit. Because I even had a video of a guy that was driving up and down the road with a gun clicking on the side of the damn, on his SUV. He could have easily picked that gun up and pointed it at me, and now there's another, attempted murder. So I risked my life. I risked my life to get, some good video footage. And then that's what Schultz was sitting there saying, hey, I need more information on the right-wing sovereign. He also told me to get some license plates, because I would call, and he'd usually be in the evening. He does the late-night shift. So let's say I called 24 times. So 24 911 calls. He would go out there, and then he, an hour later, and then just like, well, where are they at? Okay, they didn't stick around, but sometimes they actually did. They would just, hide in one of these like little bunny hills and one of these little dips and valleys. And then when the cops drove out, they would drive, right behind them, essentially, to where I could see it, but they couldn't see it, or they weren't paying attention. And then once the police were out of the neighborhood, then they would keep on doing it. Sometimes they would just drive right over the Rio, the Rio Grande. The Lobato Bridge goes over to the Rio Grande River, the headwaters, and then they're just hanging out in Conejos County. But it's actually the federal fucking government, the federal, place over there. So that's a whole nother jurisdiction, right? So basically my mistakes are I'm talking to the police. You're not supposed to be honest. You're not supposed to talk to the cops. When Robert Pickerell hid inside his house, they couldn't figure it out. When the people are driving all over the fucking neighborhood and hiding in the dips and the valleys and then driving up in the fucking mountains and shit, they couldn't figure it out. But they got a good honest man here, a good honest man that did his permits, did the 911 calls, and now I'm talking to the police because if I just tell them the damn truth of what, the hell is going on here, this is just me standing up against the bullshit. Yeah, I fired 3 warning shots. I stood up against the fucking bullshit. And the guy, drove away without doing any more stupid shit. So I thought I won this one, but apparently, I guess if they're thinking, I don't know what they're thinking. I'm thinking that, who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to speculate on that. And so what kind of guns do we have here, right? He's got some sort of long gun. Schultz had a long gun. He's got a long gun. So what is that? They got, 3 assault rifles, 4 assault rifles. 4 assault rifles for the only honest man in the neighborhood. Fucking great. Fucking brilliant. And then I'm looking at this video here. I got 12 likes. These are the right-wing sovereigns? Because it's like, hell yeah, we got the guy who's not he's not a Nazi. We got the guy who wasn't a Nazi out of the neighborhood. 1,000 views. And then what did I write here? Oh yeah, I told that these people were subpoenaed for the appearance. Jacqueline Mitchell, Phil Greeney, and Noah Spalding, Hunter Velasquez, and Brandon Howerton. Howerton was fired by the time. Velasquez is going to appear for trial. Noah Spalding doesn't appear. Phil Greeney doesn't appear. Jacqueline Mitchell appears. Phil Greeney had a 1-day warrant. Phil Greeney committed dozens of these little stop and goes, which is bullshit. And I think he's the one, that was driving over there in Conejos County too. So I moved to another fucking county in order to fight the charges again off grid. So, no running water. Just a little bit of electric that from the generator and from my truck. Hey, all right, now that's enough. It's just a video, okay? Come on, I need to try to keep it quiet here. So I'm explaining to them that I've been a victim of several drive-by shootings, and then somebody had killed Tecumseh. Somebody killed my puppy, which Soto Cruz knew about it, or Cruz Soto. He was supposed to get back to me on that. Never did. Never did. Did you investigate it? Did you ask anybody any damn questions? Why don't you just admit you didn't do your fucking job? You signed up to be a cop, and you only protect some people, but you don't protect others. Why don't you just fucking admit it? So I guess they just whispered, "Oh, we're gonna just walk around the house or something to find a different entrance. To go behind me to make some sort of arrest." We're not gonna listen to dude, right? They've already got it in their heads that they're gonna make an arrest. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about what I have to say. They could care less. What? Somebody took 39 shots at you? Who gives a shit? We don't give a fuck about right or wrong. We don't give a fuck. So these two guys are going to go off to the side, and I'm not sure what they're looking for.
been murdered, and about 200 times of harassing crimes, driving by, shining lights, stop and go. So you're saying he's the one that killed Trump? No, he's the one that knows everybody that's around that he keeps bringing them in. Every time they go over there, they... Well, how do you want him charged for murder of a puppy? No, I'm saying go question him. You just asked me the questions. No. I said, what should I investigate? Right. So I'm telling you all the crimes that happened to me. No, I'm asking what. Oh, okay. So he's flashing a light at me like about midnight, right? He's getting my dogs to just bark at midnight for some reason. They did it for about 2 weeks. Just flashing me the lights up there, just harassing me. So that's what they harass people. It's the Cherry Olive law, get something. Get harassed people. I can't drive by your mother's house and just drive-bys and she'll talk to me. Drive over her and I can't act. There's child molesters, there's serial killers here. You can't act him to do anything around here. Like a bunch of hooligans. You act like hooligans. I have a lot of evidence. I've been taking a lot of videos, taking a lot of pictures, and I'm taking a lot of notes.
So here I'm trying to explain that Robert Pickerell's committed crimes, and then Kenny Capin was a part of the damn, melee as well. And so I'm saying, how come you're not going to investigate any of these people for anything that they've done? And so, maybe he was concerned at the time, because actually it does seem like he's listening somewhat, but he's here to arrest me. He's here to pull me out of my house and take me to the jail and put some bullshit charges on me. And what sucks is, even though for 2 years I was having to deal with a bunch of crap because of violent criminals, I was a prisoner in my own home for at least a damn year. It was hell on earth. It was terrible. Now, I did, suspect it was psychological terrorism, and so therefore I felt like I was kind of above what they were trying to do. But at the same time, I had to deal with them. I didn't have police protection. And since I didn't have any neighbors or family that I could go to, I tried to, get a hold of some people to investigate or try to, I called the Romero, and he says to get other people to, join in my little movement, because I didn't, I could live in this house, but you can see that it's not completed. And because I did planning and zoning properly, I had dreamed up of a 2-story house. In hindsight, what I should have done, just moved out there, built myself a tiny home, hurried up and put up, a fence and stuff, and then I could have got to living. I could have started living. I never had a chance to just live in a nice, safe neighborhood, and then just, by the sweat of my brow, whatever I can do for myself, then go do it. I've never been able to do that. And so my thought was, build me a house, I'll have me a safe house, and then once I get a safe house, then I'll work on my career and find a wife and have a family, maybe I have a picket fence, maybe I have a garden. But I never got a fucking chance to do that. And that's fucking bullshit. I mean, this is America, but I'm not allowed to buy a piece of ground and build my own house. And if people are going to commit crimes against me, then the police, that are 40 minutes away, they're not going to do a damn thing about it. And now they're here to, and then how come this mirror, is it busted out? So you hear what he's saying. He's like, well, if you saw it, who did it? Okay, I didn't see him crystal clear, right? We're having this conversation. You want to arrest me. That's all you want to do. You want to arrest me. You've already made it up in your mind. You got 5 guys loaded up, to the teeth, armed to the damn teeth. You want to arrest me. So you're not sitting here trying to figure out who committed the crime. I wrote down the description. I wrote 5 pages down, so I give you all the leads in the world. I said they went up there by, Troy Zinn's house. It was 2 white males in a truck, and I didn't see who did it. I didn't see, I saw them do it in front of me, so I'm, right here in my house, so it was about 300 feet away from the road. And so I saw the truck. It was either a green truck with a red panel or a red truck with a green panel. And I called the police, and then he actually, Noble Havens, said he talked to the person. So even though he didn't find out who it was, he said he talked to the person, and then he denied that he talked to him, which is such bullshit. So cops don't do their jobs; they're incompetent, and then on top of it, they're going to lie. And then when he was here, he also said he saw that the swerve marks. So he saw that the guy had swerved intentionally to hit my dog. So my dog was friendly and nice, but if somebody has messed around your house, if I'm a robber and I'm like, just kind of standing by the perimeter of your house, just kind of waiting to go in, Tecumseh wasn't a mean dog, so he's not out there just barking at the person. He was, trying to be friends with them. If the people would have opened their truck door, he would have jumped in the truck and he would have kept going. Tecumseh was a good dog. I spent so much time with that dog. He was my best friend, and they killed my dog. And when I went to Soto Cruz, he didn't give a damn, or Cruz Soto. When I went to Cruz Soto, I gave him, I went to the courts, I went to the judge, I talked to the prosecutor, and when I went to Cruz Soto, he said he needed to talk to Noble Havens. Now he's saying, well, Noble Havens is no longer with us. Oh, okay, well, I guess then that's solved, right? That solves nothing. That solves nothing. He doesn't care about anything that I'm saying. What they're not going to do, they're not going to investigate Robert Pickerell. They don't care that Robert Pickerell was part of a drive-by shooting. Sam Jepsen took shots at me. If it takes words, right? Joe Canty said words, and now they're here to arrest me. Okay, well, I told you that Sam Jepsen had took shots at me. He drives a green Blazer around. He, about 2 miles behind me. Go arrest him. There, I said some words. And I'm telling the truth. So how come the same standard isn't being used on my behalf? Why isn't the same standard being used on my behalf? Joe Canty can issue some lies, but then when I tell the truth, they don't have 5 guys armed to the teeth to arrest Robert Pickerell. He was not, he didn't do the shooting, but he was a passenger of a truck that did the shooting. So he knows who the driver would be. And he's saying, well, who did it? Okay, well then I'm supposed to what? I'm supposed to do the cop's job? Because if you guys are freaked out that I fired a few warning shots, I'm supposed to believe that I'm allowed to get in my truck, chase the dude down, and then do a citizen's arrest, and then throw the guy over my shoulder, and then take him to the police station, and they're going to uphold that? Bullshit. Bullshit. If they're afraid of me firing a couple warning shots, then they'd be afraid of me doing anything. I go to somebody's house, there's, the one guy says that we're scrapping. I'm going to knock on your door and we're going to be scrapping. So if I just go to Sam Jepsen's door and knock on his door, and I was like, come on, no, we're fighting. Let's do this. No, you came over to my house. And what he did, Sam Jepsen, he was over on this, this road right here, which is Seminole Trail, which is on you don't see it here, but it's the road that goes up and down, consistent with how I'm pointing my cursor. He was over there. And it's late at night, and he just drives right there, and then he turns his vehicle, and he puts his headlights right on my house. Fucking 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, somebody comes to your house and just puts headlights straight onto your house. Clear as day. He's messing with me, just messing with me. At the very least, it's harassment. People want to say disorderly conduct and jaywalking and not having a seatbelt. These are the crimes of the century. If I was to go to, Cruz Soto's house and just just drive my truck into, point it to his house and just put my brights on and just shine at his house. And then what? I'm supposed to think that he's not going to do anything about it? And then gunshots are fired. So I'm supposed to believe that I could go harass Cruz Soto, shine bright lights onto his house, and then shoot a couple shots, and then warning shots are going to be fired in response. And thank goodness, because that means I saved myself. They want to harass a vulnerable person, which in a way I was, because I was by myself. But since I was willing to defend myself, they could only harass me to an extent. So after he does that shining of my house, then he drives, about half a mile over onto Delaware, over onto the intersection. And so he's like all the way, my cursor's just on this, so it's just showing you to the left side there. So he's, he was over on this side, right? So he bright lights my house with his green SUV, drives on Delaware, right where they killed my Tecumseh, and then they're over on the intersection over here. I want to say Kiowa. Is that Kiowa and Delaware? I'm not sure what the adjacent road is. I used to remember all these roads, but I wrote all this stuff down, so as my memory fades about the thing, I could refresh it, because I wrote it when it had happened, and I took all these really good notes. So we know Sam Jepsen took shots at me. We know he was harassing me. We know that he took shots at me. And then when he was over there on the intersection of Delaware and Kiowa, I went to the top of this roof, and I had like a little flashlight on it. When he fired some shots at me, I hit the ground on my stomach, and then the flashlight kind of bounced around, and so I could hear the bullets, and they were shooting from a good distance away. But how would they figure that out? How would they? Let's say they hit me. How would these guys have figured out who did it? Would they have investigated anybody in the neighborhood? Would they have asked some tough questions of anybody? Clearly, they just want to hurt me. Clearly, they just want to ruin my life. I mean, that's what they're doing. That's all they care about. They have ignored, 24 complaints, including drive-by shootings, which is attempted murder. They ignored those. And they ignored Tecumseh being murdered. Once they ignored Tecumseh being murdered, then that was just, as soon as he dropped the ball on that, that's told the criminals, right-wing sovereigns, and I want to say there might be Crips in the neighborhood. It told the people, it's only a handful of criminals, so Phil Greeney, Sam Jepsen, Robert Pickerell, and Kenny Capin was involved too, and then, a couple of other people, but that's what, 6 people? So 6 people were terrorizing, the living hell out of me, and we're not going to investigate any of it. We're not going to arrest any of them people, the people that actually did the real crime. Sam Jepsen took shots at me, so he tried to murder me. He's not going to get arrested. Why? How's that fair? How's that right? And then I'm the only one out here doing the planning and zoning. So, the reason why I'm building every day is because planning and zoning says you have to keep progressing. So I'm sitting here sweating bullets, not just worried about these stupid local hoodlums, but I'm also worried about planning and zoning, because every 3 months I got to keep on building, because you got to keep on doing improvements. You got to do continuous improvements. And I read the stupid laws, and since I read the stupid laws, I got to keep on, building and building and building. So I have to, now I'm worried that my permits are going to get, expired. They're going to get canceled, and so now I'm not going to be able to build my house. Meanwhile, Robert Pickerell comes in, builds his little house, doesn't care about planning and zoning, never calls the police for any damn thing, has a bunch of, criminal buddies that's helping him do a bunch of stuff. He's, driving this little crappy truck and shit. And then when he was subpoenaed to go to trial, he wasn't around for a year and a half. Anytime I went to his house, I posted it up on his door, and he was never around. So, where did he go? He just disappears? Oh, how fucking perfect. And then these guys can't figure any of it out. Even if they want to pretend that, nothing I'm saying is true, then I still had to fend for myself against the bullshit. You can pretend that something isn't happening, but if it is happening, and I don't have court protection, I don't have police protection, the judges, the prosecutors, the cops, they didn't do a damn thing. They didn't give a shit. Then I have to protect myself. And then now, after this happened, now you're saying I can't even protect myself? Now I can't even protect myself, so I just have to let fucking Phil Greeney rape me? I just have to let Phil Greeney and Robert Pickerell do a number to me and do whatever the hell they want? The whole point of me coming out here is I'm a would-be family man. And so this isn't a good place to raise a family. Yeah, I'm not going to, I'm supposed to let Phil Greeney do whatever the hell he wants to me and my wife and children, and I'm just supposed to be one big fucking laugh, thing that's just supposed to be hilarious? And so what did he go over there and whisper to him? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to go arrest him, so I want you to get ready, get prepared for how he reacts to this, okay? We're going to do something against him. Whisper, whisper, whisper. We're going to do something against him. Keith Schultz is sitting here listening to all of this. Keith, what the hell is your problem, man? When he caught Pickerell harassing me, Keith Schultz comes out, sneaks up, and then when he was there in the middle of the night, guess what Robert Pickerell does? He flashes a light at Keith Schultz. So he sees the harassment. And this is harassment on top of a drive-by shooting. So they've already tried to murder me and a number of things. He stalked me. He was tailgating me. Robert Pickerell did so many crimes. So if words leads to an arrest, attempted murder is a good charge. Harassment's a good charge. Stalking, driving too closely, tailgating. There's 5 charges. You want to arrest Robert Pickerell for something, there's 5 charges. But they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about actually doing the crimes, stopping crimes in the neighborhood. Right now, they want to kidnap me. Right now, they want to take my body. Why? Because the guy knows Joe Canty. They're tired of me calling 911. He doesn't know who I am. I called 911 too many times. So, the 2 times I called Soto Cruz, I mentioned another thing that he was a part of. Not only did I tell him about Tecumseh being murdered, he didn't care. He didn't care at the courthouse, and I drove all the way there, and it's 45-minute drive or whatever. So, I'm leaving my house and my dogs and, my belongings, whatever. I go out to the police station, and I'm sitting there talking to him. He pretended to read the thing, but then when he just kind of shrugged his shoulders about the whole damn thing, he said he was going to talk to Noble Havens about it. And ultimately, I don't think he did. If he did talk to him, then Noble Havens either lied or just said, hey, I did what I was doing, my best. And then he's like, oh, okay. Well, then he just rubber stamped that stupid decision. So getting a second opinion on the matter didn't matter at all. Did you canvass the neighborhood, Cruz Soto? Did you go around asking anybody any questions whatsoever? Did you do your damn job? Somebody terrorized my house. And if you know anything about the dog laws, he's trying to say, well, the dog was on the road, so therefore clean, cut, and dry, the dog deserved to get murdered. No law says that you're allowed to murder people's dogs. And the dog bite law says that the exception, because they have a strict liability dog bite law, there's exceptions to that. There's several exceptions, like a police service dog, ranch dogs, different things like that. But the one big one is you can't provoke the dog. If I was to go to a neighbor's house and I kept throwing rocks at the dog house, and and then the dog, comes out to me, or hell, maybe I could entice him with food. If I provoked the dog, if I led the dog, to my house or to the road or whatever, then I'm not allowed to murder them. You can't provoke the dog. They provoked him. They provoked him because they were driving slow as fuck because they wanted to kill my fucking dog. That's why they fucking did it. They drove slow as shit, revving their fucking engines, rip-roaring up and down the fucking road, and they did it twice, and they pulled into Jacqueline Mitchell's house, which is where Phil Greeney was living. So did they ask Jacqueline Mitchell any of these questions? Did they ask Phil Greeney any of these questions? I have to let Phil Greeney fucking terrorize my life for the rest of my life, and, even though it sucked that I had these criminal civilians that were messing with me, because I've had to do litigation for the past 4 years. This arrest is going to lead me having to do litigation for 4 years. This shit has been a way worse punishment than anything that the damn, civilian criminals could have done. This is going to fucking upend my life. And then once they make the arrest, well, they're not going to investigate any of this stuff because they want to make sure that their arrest turns out to be good. So they're going to do their deliberate indifference carries on. They're going to continue to do absolutely nothing. They're going to continue to do absolutely nothing. So I don't get equal protection. The Second Amendment, you have a right to defend yourself, including bearing arms. They don't know the, interaction that had happened between me and Joe Canty. It was just me and him that saw, basically him harassing me and me telling him to leave. But there is some other peripheral things, right? There was a guy, there was a lady that took a photo of that day. Robert Pickerell is where Joe Canty delivered the stuff to. Where was he, right? So all of a sudden, Robert Pickerell is just fucking gone, right? That's brilliant, right? Christopher Mondragon kills a person and then he's just gone. So they're never going to be able to figure that out. So Christopher Mondragon, he doesn't have to deal with litigation for the next 4 years. Where's the equal protection? Where is the consistency? You had David Delata, he murdered a guy and he gets to walk after 6 months. So he actually killed a person. Joe Canty testified there was no injury. No injury. No injury had happened. So the laws are there to prevent one person from injuring another person. If no injury happened, and then he's going to put a felony on me. A fucking felony. Well, that's going to prevent me from doing a whole bunch of stuff now, isn't it? What if I want to be an FBI agent, you know? What if I want to get hired by the Costilla County Sheriff's Office? Well, it looks here like you have a gun charge. Like, motherfuckers. If Sam Jepsen doesn't get a fucking gun charge, that's a gun charge, right? Sam Jepsen, Robert Pickerell was part of a drive-by shooting, and then that guy that was clicking his gun on the side of his truck came from Robert Pickerell's house. Every time motherfuckers went over to Robert Pickerell's house, immediately they were doing some dumb shit. They would, talk real loud and just real boisterous, and then immediately, as soon as they're driving away, they're doing something. They're, acting a fucking fool. So that's bullshit. To think that Robert Pickerell has nothing to do with it, or Phil Greeney, or Jacqueline fucking Mitchell, or Sam Jepsen, Hiram Richardson, none of these people have any idea. Bullshit. 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 And I'm supposed to do all the investigation that a police officer does. They have basically, the monopoly of force. They have a monopoly of force. And did you hear what he just said? So, that's important right there. So, right at 10:33, he says, are you going to come out here and talk to us? Are you going to come out here and talk to us? I want to put hands on you. I've been wanting to put hands on you the entire time. As soon as you came to the courthouse and said that your dog got murdered, I want to put hands on you then. I want to put hands on you when you called 911 and said there's a drive-by shooting. I want to put hands on you then too. This is malicious. This is malicious. This is corrupt. He's not doing equal protection. This is deliberate indifference. This is horseshit. This is horseshit.
I wrote 5 pages to you, so I took my time to sit there and say, here's what I witnessed, here's what I saw. Noble Haven knows who did it. You're telling me you don't even know who the criminals around here. I don't know who did it. You're arresting children to shoot me. God damn it. Well, we're not going to shoot you, but the point is that we got allegations that the story the guy
So that was Velasquez saying he's going to try to find a way up the back, right? So they're being a bunch of weird, creepy fucks, and they're going to try to figure out how to get into my house so they can grab my body. That's all they want to do. They came in here to grab my body. This guy's pretending to have a conversation with me, but he has already decided in his mind that he's going to arrest me. He's already going to. And then the fucking judge wouldn't even allow all these videos to be shown. He only showed one. One of them was allowed to be shown, and then the other ones. There's 5 guys with 5, guns. He's going to go around the back and see if there's a way that they could go around the back to, capture my body. Are you going to come out here to talk to us? So he's, being disingenuous. I already decided I want to arrest you when I was outside your house. And I talked to Joe Canty, and then I'm like, you know what? This guy's called 911 too many damn times. And, he said he got his dog murdered, and then they did drive-by shootings, so I should have investigated it, but since I'm a corrupt cop, I'd rather just, go ahead and arrest him, and then that'll just take care of my problems. The right-wing sovereigns, they at least have each other, right? The right-wing sovereigns at least can rely on each other if they don't rely on the police. But I bet you that some of the right-wing sovereigns both rely on each other and the police. So, in a way, when Schultz had come out one time, he had said something like, well, if you can't beat him, then join him. So is that what I should have done? Even though I believe in health care and I believe in helping people that are poor, and I want to stop war, and, I give a damn about people. Since I give a damn about people, I have to become a fucking Nazi just because of where I happen to be put on, down, and then thinking about how we have fascists in America now. So then they should be pretty happy, right? So the fascists are in power now. So I'll just end this off with what Joe Canty did. And Joe Canty lied. Joe Canty said he drove by my house and he didn't see me, a 6-foot tall man with 5 dogs. Oh, I drove by his house. I didn't even see him. Bullshit. Bullshit. They're defending people that have hurt people, have injured people, that committed crimes, and they're defending people that are lying. Not only did Joe Canty have false charges earlier, and he lied right there in the middle of the courtroom, so they went with the liar right there in the middle of the courtroom, but they're also going to go with his lies anyways. He drives by the house, and he's driving super slow with this loud-ass vehicle, right? Well, this is just, there is some trauma there. That's what they did in order to kill my fucking Tecumseh, right? Drove real slow with the loud-ass vehicle. I'm in the backyard, so there's there's about 300 feet in front of this house and then 300 feet behind it. I'm in the back corner over here just walking in a little circle. That's what I was doing with my dogs. I used to just kind of walk all over the place with the dogs. I used to just walk in a circle around here. Well, I quit walking in a circle because if I drive by the if I walk by the road and then somebody's driving by and they want to mess with me, so I'm going back into the corner here where there's nobody to be messed with. So when I'm here in the back of the corner, I know I'm circling the house, but just imagine that there's, land behind there, and it's just plains, right? So I'm back there in the corner walking my dogs, and then Joe Canty drives up with this big, loud industrial truck. He slows down specifically. Well, my dogs are starting to walk towards him, so he's, messing with me. He's changing what my life is. Now I have to, go, I eventually run past my dogs and, get them to go back in the house, because that's how you have to get dogs to listen to you, if. So, as I'm walking my dogs, he's right there looking at me, and because he's driving real slow, I'm pointing him to get the hell out of here, and it's very crystal clear. I'm saying, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And I'm pointing, to the Sangre de Crystal Mountains. I'm pointing to this side. Get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And then he's laughing. He thinks it's hilarious. This is so funny to Joe Canty. He's never seen anything funnier. And then he jerks the steering wheel. He jerks the steering wheel. The whole damn industrial truck comes towards me. And so he just jerks the damn vehicle. But what are you saying when you jerk a vehicle towards somebody? You're driving by their house and then they say, get the hell out of here because you're, messing with the dogs or whatever. I don't want you here. If you're lost, you're looking for directions, I'm not going to give you any directions, okay? If we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But he was delivering to Robert Pickerell, who was committing so many fucking crimes. When he parked over there at Robert Pickerell's house, that's when I knew for sure that, if there was any doubts in my mind, after then, there was no doubt in my mind that he was messing with me. He's delivering to, first an illegal settlement, but he's also with Robert Pickerell. He's with those people. So Robert Pickerell comes in, says, fuck your planning and zoning. Cruz Soto, I ain't going to listen to your planning and zoning. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And when I move into this fucking community, I'm going to commit crimes against the neighbors, especially the people that are following the laws. I'm going to commit crimes against the neighbors who are following the laws and that are, doing planning and zoning, who's good moral people, because, Robert Pickerell is a criminal, so he don't mind injuring people, hurting people. And then when he does his harassing and stalking and then the cops come out, he's going to hide inside his house. He's not going to talk to the police. Keith Schultz couldn't figure it out. Keith Schultz stayed at the end of Robert Pickerell's house with a bullhorn. He stays outside of Robert Pickerell's house with a bullhorn, trying to entice him to come out. Robert Pickerell doesn't come out. He just gets into his house, locks the door, stays inside his house. He was able to complete his house, right? So he's, there's like holes and stuff in my house. He actually has, 4 walls and a roof. A tiny home, no doubt, or no less, but that's, they couldn't arrest him. They couldn't arrest him. So if you want the arrest to happen, then you get Cruz Soto on your side. If Cruz Soto thinks that a thing happens, he'll organize 4 other people to make sure that the arrest happens. If you get Keith Schultz, even if Keith Schultz believed that any of the crimes that are happening against me, he's so low on the totem pole, he wouldn't be able to get anybody out there to make the arrest. He's not going to do investigations. He's not going to, canvass the neighborhood. He's not going to do a sting operation. He's not going to catch the people. And even when he catches Robert Pickerell in the act, he still doesn't arrest him. He still doesn't arrest him. So that's what Joe Canty did. When he jerked his large industrial truck towards me, I took that as a threat, because how else could you take that? He jerked the damn thing because I told him to get the fuck out of there. He jerks the damn steering wheel towards me. When he jerks the steering wheel towards me, he's saying, I'm going to fucking run you over. Maybe I'll drive over there and run your ass over. What do you think about that? I got a big ass fucking truck. At the very least, he's being a hooligan in a dangerous neighborhood. And at the very most, he knows these fucking people. He knows Troy Zinn. He knows Robert Pickerell. Oh, he lives in Conejos and he hardly does anything. And he's just so... Yeah, right. Okay. I'm not going to believe his little sob story. At any point in time, he could have just dropped the complaint, but nobody ever mentioned that to him. And then when he goes to the courthouse, his father was with him the whole time. So there's some people that have fathers that'll stand next to their sons even when they're hurting other people, even when they're lying. They'll stand by their sons even through lies. So that's what he did. I fired 3 warning shots because he jerked his fucking steering wheel, act like he was going to come over to the, around the fucking, he was act like he jerked his steering wheel. So he acted like he was going to fucking run us over, destroy my property, run me over, run my dogs over, something, right? He was acting like a tough guy, big-ass industrial truck. Yes, I think you could do some damage with a large industrial truck. It's called vehicular manslaughter. To think that people can't commit crimes with their damn vehicle, for felony menacing to be applied, it's got to be a knife, a gun, or a bludgeon. You think you can bludgeon somebody with a vehicle, with a car? What about a large industrial truck? You think you can bludgeon somebody with a large industrial truck? Of course you can. Of course you fucking can. But he knew Joe Canty, so since he knew Joe Canty, he was going to go along with whatever Joe Canty had said. And so, yeah. That's what happened between me and Joe Canty. Then he drives down the road, and then he comes back again, driving super fucking slow. And then he goes to the neighbor's house, to Robert Pickerell, and he's sitting there unloading stuff. And then I get in my truck, and I drive a circle. I drive a circle around. First, I yell at the fucking Phil Greeney's house, telling him to stop fucking harassing me, because that's, he stopped by there for about 30 seconds. He says he didn't talk to anybody there, which, who the fuck knows if Joe Canty could be, if you could believe anything, only admissions. You can only believe Joe Canty's admissions. You can't believe anything that makes him look like in a good light, but if he mentions something that maybe isn't so good. And then I parked right outside my driveway to make sure he didn't do it again. And then that was it. And then I went inside thinking I had won one. But apparently you're not allowed to defend yourself in Costilla County.